Patriots Nation, the atmosphere in Foxborough today feels like a do-or-die showdown, but that's not the only thing burning behind the scenes. We've got a head-to-head with the reigning MVP in a massive game, a potential dream edition down the road, a rookie playmaker begging for more snaps, and a playoff picture that could flip this entire Sunday upside down. Grab your coffee, sit back, hit that like button, and let's dive straight into it. Let's start with what has every Patriots fan on edge. This quarterback showdown that feels like a movie script. The bye week is already in the rearview mirror. Now it's Drake May versus Josh Allen, Gillette Stadium rocking, and a real chance to bring the AFC East title back to Foxborough for the first time since 2019. We've already seen this matchup once this season. Back in Week 5, May went into Buffalo, dealt with the noise and the pressure, and still led New England to a 23-20 win. On the final possession, he marched the offense into range, set up rookie kicker Andy Borregales for a 52-yard game winner, and walked out looking like the next superstar in this league. On the other sideline, nothing has changed about who Josh Allen is. He's still that all-pro, reigning MVP, who can take over a game with his arm and his legs. Even May has admitted it hits different when you're facing a player like that. He told local radio he's a fan of Allen off the field, that he enjoys watching him play. That's what makes this matchup special. It's not fake trash talk, it's real respect, but with a competitive fire underneath. Once the ball is snapped, it's two killers going at each other, drive for drive. Mike Vrabel understands this better than anyone. He's already said both quarterbacks are elite competitors. He pointed out that Allen has that extra size and that lower-the-shoulder mentality he doesn't necessarily want to see from May, but he emphasized something crucial. Both guys stay calm. They don't panic in the pocket. They get the offense into the right play at the line of scrimmage. They handle the pass rush without looking rattled. You're looking at two field generals who control the tempo of the game. And here's the detail nobody can ignore. This game isn't just about the division or seeding, it's about MVP votes in real time. May is running neck and neck with Matthew Stafford in that race, beating the reigning MVP again in this kind of high-leverage atmosphere in front of a national audience might be exactly the thing that separates great rookie season from historic season. Imagine what it does in that locker room and in the minds of every AFC opponent watching. While everyone is locked in on this showdown and the playoff push, there's something just as fascinating happening behind the curtain. The way Mike Vrabel is rebuilding this roster. What the Patriots are doing in his first year as head coach is wild when you stop and think about it. Nearly half the roster turned over. Culture reset. New systems on both sides of the ball. And even with all that, this team hits Week 14 at 11-2, tied for the best record in the league. That's not luck. That's identity. That's a new version of the Patriot way being written by a guy who lived the original up close. Vrabel came in talking long-term, about building the locker room, finding his type of players, upgrading the chemistry step by step, but the team bought in, the veterans set the tone, the young guys followed. Suddenly, Sundays feel fun again in New England. The fan base isn't just watching, they're believing. And even with all of that going right, the front office is already looking ahead. No matter how this season ends, whether it stops in January or turns into a deep run in February, this roster is going to go through another serious wave of change in 2026. Not because they're desperate, but because they're ambitious. The Patriots are projected to be in the top 10 in salary cap space again next offseason. In this league, you follow the money. Cap space means flexibility to keep your own guys and still chase difference makers who fit your scheme and your quarterback. That's where one particular move from a rival comes in. The Ravens extended Mark Andrews with a 3-year deal, and that sends a very loud signal about Isaiah Likely. He's been productive when healthy, he's still young, and his rookie contract is set to expire after the 2025 season. With Andrews locked in, Likely is lining up to hit the open market in 2026 and see what his value looks like. Now picture this. Likely was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts. You really think that detail is lost on the Patriots? Hunter Henry is playing some of the best football of his career and is already signed through 2026. He's that steady red zone presence and chain mover you love in this system. Behind him, Austin Hooper, A Vrabel guy from Tennessee, is getting older. His production has dipped, and he's heading into free agency again. Drop a player like Likely into this offense, and it changes everything. You'd have a young, explosive tight end who can stretch the seam, dominate in the red zone, and create mismatches all over the field, working alongside Henry in two tight end looks. A guy in his mid-20s with that profile will cost real money, but New England should be perfectly positioned cap-wise to make that happen if they decide he's their guy. It would be bringing him home and giving Drake May another dynamic weapon in the passing game right as he enters his prime. Now let's shift gears, because if in recent years we complained non-stop about the lack of big play juice on offense, today there's a name flying under the radar who could be the hidden cheat code of this group. Kyle Williams, your third-round rookie, came into this season as a developmental piece. Learn the route tree, get comfortable in the playbook, carve out a role. But every time he actually gets on the field and touches the ball, something different happens. In just 13 targets all year, he's turned 5 catches into 143 yards and 2 touchdowns, including that 72-yard bomb against Tampa Bay that had the entire fan base out of their seats. That kind of efficiency is not a coincidence. It's a flashing neon sign that says, "Get this dude the ball." It's not just straight-line speed, even though running a 4.40 is no joke. What really jumps off the screen is his first step after the catch. The moment he secures the ball, it's like he goes from 0 to full speed instantly. Very few receivers in the league have that. Williams looks built to take any short throw, a slant, a shallow cross, a quick out, and turn it into a chunk play in the blink of an eye. And yet, he's still sitting 5th on the depth chart behind Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins, and Pop Douglas. Even ESPN's Mike Rice has pointed out his progress and the challenge of cracking the rotation in a receiver room that deep. Williams knows he can do more. He knows he's capable of tilting the field when he gets his opportunities. Yes, route running and consistency matter. You can't just throw a guy out there and spam go routes. But there are simple concepts, crossers, posts, quick in-breakers, where his speed and yards after catch ability can be maximized without asking him to run the entire route tree at an elite level right away. Give him a handful of targets a game in situations he already understands. Let him attack soft spots in zone coverage and stress safeties who are already worried about Diggs. If the coaching staff leans into that, defensive coordinators will have to make a choice. Roll coverage toward Diggs and leave Williams one-on-one, or respect the kid's big play threat and give May easier looks elsewhere. Either way, May wins. The entire offense becomes more dangerous, and suddenly those 3rd and short and 2-minute drill situations look a lot different when you've got a guy who can take a simple catch and go the distance. Now drop all of that, the quarterback duel, the roster construction, the emerging weapons, into the middle of a playoff race that might explode this weekend. The Patriots can clinch a playoff spot on Sunday, and they can do it in the cleanest, most beautiful way possible, or in a way so convoluted that it feels like some kind of advanced math problem. The clean way is simple. Beat the Buffalo Bills at home. That's it. You win, you punch your ticket to the postseason, and you wrap up the AFC East in the process, guaranteeing no worse than the 3 seed. That's the type of win that defines character, sets the tone for the rest of the playoff run, and tells the entire league this isn't a fluke. This is a real contender. Vrabel knows what that means. The locker room knows what that means. Drake May definitely knows what that means. Of course, this is the NFL, and there's always a chaos path. There are tie and scoreboard watching scenarios where New England can still sneak in with help from other AFC teams. But ties in this league are rare, and building your hopes around 2 or 3 different games breaking perfectly is like betting your season on a lottery ticket. Technically possible, but absolutely not something you want to rely on. That's why the message in Foxborough has to be simple. Don't leave your fate in anyone else's hands. No weird tie combinations. No begging for help. Just win. Handle your business at home, in front of your fans, in a stadium that remembers what it feels like to play games that actually matter in December. That's the difference between looking like a contender and acting like one. Patriots Nation, after a day loaded with storylines, one thing is obvious. This team is living through something special. A decisive showdown with Josh Allen, The possibility of a massive free agent splash like Isaiah Likely in 2026, the raw explosiveness of Kyle Williams demanding a bigger role, and a playoff picture ready to erupt into a historic Sunday. All of it points to a New England that's reborn, competitive, and hungry. We'll be here breaking it all down every step of the way, win or lose, because this is what this fan base does when the games really matter. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these stories fired you up the most? Drop a comment, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join us every day for more Patriots talk, and let's keep riding this run together, all the way back to the top.